With greetings do I come to you, the worthy citizens of Sackville and area, on this, the first day of January 2021. As we are all aware, the past year has been a very challenging one for people all over the world. I am proud to say that we, as a community, due to our diligence, have been relatively free of this pandemic. We have certainly had to make a lot of adjustments to our daily life, such as social distancing, masks worn everywhere, no hugs, no live entertainment, no large gatherings, and changes in vacation and travel plans, to name a few. I encourage you to remain conscientious so the positive outcomes we have experienced will continue. My wish for 2021 is that we all be there for each other during this difficult time in this new way of life. It is amazing how uplifting and appreciating a simple phone call can be for someone who is alone and confined to home. Let us hope 2021 brings us good health and a back to normal life. Blessings to all. Stay well, stay safe. Oh yay, oh yay, oh yay.
Hello everyone, and welcome to a very different New Year's levee. The battle against COVID virus has obviously put us under restrictions as to how we can celebrate the advent of a new year. So we can have no town crier, no gathering, no food or no drink. So I'll offer this message about the past year and what we might look forward to in the coming year. Obviously in the last year, most aspects of our lives have been dominated by the largest pandemic since the Spanish flu of the early 20th century, COVID-19. I think we can all take no small measure of pride in having survived the last few months with only a single travel-related case of COVID and no instances of community spread in Sackville. COVID has also led to major changes in how we conduct the business of the town. Town staff have really stepped up and put a lot of effort into setting up virtual council meetings, developing and managing a COVID operational plan, planning the joint Mount A community bubble, and working with volunteers to create the Tantramar COVID task force. As you're well aware, COVID has closed the border with our friends and family in Nova Scotia, and for many has made this Christmas very different from normal. We can only hope that if we are all very diligent about following public health rules, the Atlantic bubble can be established again in the new year. But for Sackville, the year hasn't been entirely about COVID. We've accomplished a number of things, even without COVID, that would have been real milestones. So what have we done? Well, we hired Jamie Burke as our new CAO, welcomed Kieran Miller as the Senior Manager of Corporate Projects, and appointed Michelle Sherwood as the new Superintendent of Public Works. We began installing the necessary infrastructure to promote the development of the 506 area. Our Climate Roundtable has been very active in setting priorities for dealing with the climate change in Sackville. Our fire department has planned and designed a new training facility, upgraded their PPE, and added to their firefighting arsenal with new entry and extraction tools. It's especially significant to note that much of this was done with contributions from funds that firefighters raised themselves, and their dedication to the safety and citizens of Sackville is deeply appreciated. Main Street has a new board, and partnering with the town established a very popular business and holiday passports to promote local shopping. But to me, one of the most gratifying events that happened in the last year was how the people of Sackville came together with one very loud voice to protest the, quote, reforms to our hospital that were forced upon us with no consultation. Our protest rallies at the hospital and those of the 5 other communities affected forced the province to back away from those measures. Since then, the mayors of these 6 communities have kept in regular contact to plan our strategy for dealing with future changes to healthcare. Provincial authorities will now begin a series of consultations with municipal leaders and healthcare professionals. These efforts will continue well into the new year. Finally, I'll close with some thank yous. First of all, to the employees of the town for their hard work in managing the affairs of this town in such a professional manner through what has been a most difficult year. One thing I can say to the residents of Sackville is that one of our greatest assets is the dedication and professionalism of the people who work for the town. I'd also like to thank 2 people who devoted years of dedicated service to Sackville, Joyce O'Neill and John Hyam. Both Joyce and John are missed on council. And last but far from least, the citizens of Sackville, for your forbearance through COVID, involvement and work to make Sackville the kind of place we all want to live in. And I'll close with a quote from Alfred Lord Tennyson. Hope smiles from the threshold of a new year to come, whispering it will be happier. So have a good 2021, and let's defeat this virus once and for all. Thank you.
Happy New Year, everyone. I'm SHOSHANNA Wingate. I'm the Poet Laureate of Sackville, and I'm here to read you a poem for the Mayor's Levee. And I've chosen this poem today because it's about family connection. It's about connection to place. It's about history. And I felt like this is something that maybe we've all come to treasure a bit more in this last year. It's called At the Fish Houses by Elizabeth Bishop. Although it is a cold evening, down by one of the fish houses, an old man sits netting. His net in the gloaming, almost invisible, a dark purple-brown, and his shuttle worn and polished. The air smells so strong of codfish, it makes one's nose run and one's eyes water. The 5 fish houses have steeply peaked roofs and narrow, cleated gangplanks, slant up to storerooms in the gables for the wheelbarrows to be pushed up and down on. All is silver, the heavy surface of the sea, swelling slowly as if considering spilling over, is opaque but the silver of the benches, the lobster pots and masts, scattered among the wild, jagged rocks, is of an apparent translucence, like the small old buildings with an emerald moss growing in their shoreward walls. The big fish tubs are completely lined with layers of beautiful herring scales, and the wheelbarrows are similarly plastered with creamy iridescent coats of mail, with small iridescent flies crawling on them. Up on the little slope behind the houses, set in the sparse, bright sprinkle of grass, is an ancient wooden capstan, cracked with 2 long bleached handles and some melancholy stains, like dried blood, where the ironwork has rusted. The old man accepts a lucky strike. He was a friend of my grandfather. We talk of the decline in the population and of codfish and herring while he waits for a herring boat to come in. There are sequins on his vest and on his thumb. He has scraped the scales, the principal beauty, from unnumbered fish with that black old knife, the blade of which is almost worn away. Down at the water's edge, at the place where they haul up the boats, up the long ramp descending into the water, thin silver tree trunks are laid horizontally across the gray stones, down and down at intervals of 4 or 5 feet. Cold, dark, deep, and absolutely clear, element bearable to no mortal, to fish and to seals. One seal, particularly, I have seen here evening after evening. He was curious about me. He was interested in music. Like me, a believer in total immersion. So I used to sing him Baptist hymns. I also sang, "A Mighty Fortress is Our God." He stood up in the water and regarded me, steadily, moving his head a little. Then he would disappear, then suddenly emerge in the same spot, with a sort of shrug, as if it were against his better judgment. Cold, dark, deep, and absolutely clear, the clear, gray, icy water. Back behind us, the dignified, tall firs begin, bluish, associating with their shadows. A million Christmas trees stand waiting for Christmas. The water seems suspended above the rounded gray and blue-gray stones. I have seen it over and over, the same sea, the same, slightly, indifferently, swinging above the stones. Icily free above the stones and then the world. If you should dip your hand in, your wrist would ache immediately, your bones would begin to ache, and your hand would burn, as if the water were a transmutation of fire that feeds on stones and burns with a dark gray flame. If you tasted it, it would first taste bitter, then briny, then surely burn your tongue. It is like what we imagine knowledge to be. Dark, salt, clear, moving, utterly free, drawn from the cold, hard mouth of the world, derived from the rocky breast forever, flowing and drawn, and since our knowledge is historical, flowing and flown. Thank you very much.